bring up. We have the Blair Witch Project reboots in work. Let me bring this up real quick and just give you a breakdown of what I could find. It says Sneeder tweets, which he's going to take on the venture of the Blair Witch Project.
I think it's pronounced Snyder. I could be wrong.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
I don't like it either, but I think it sounds better than Sneeder. Maybe it is Sneeder, though. I don't know.
I'm going to call him Sneeder Snyder. Sneeder Snyder tweets, start prepping those pitches, genre scribes, because it sounds like Lionsgate is ready to venture back into the woods again with another Blair Witch Project, since good IP is never truly dead in the streaming age. Okay.
Oh, so it's going to be a streaming thing.
Okay. Well, okay. See, that right there it sounds like a car salesman for video on demand, like in the 90s, oh, well, why go to the theater when you can just get your movies at the theater store and take them home? You don't have to go to the movie theaters. Why would you want to do that? That's ridiculous. Because the quality that usually goes into the VODs and the streaming are not as great as quality or high as budget as your basic theatrical event. Okay, so Seth, you don't know much about the Blair Witch Project.
No, I don't know much about it.
Okay. See, this movie, when it came out, it grabbed me. I was a sucker for it. 100%. I watched all the extra footage they put out, all the fake documentaries that we didn't know were fake at the time. And I went into this movie knowing this was a real found footage movie, and it scared the living hell out of me. It did. And then when I found out that it was all fake and we all got punked, I felt like an idiot. But the thing about this movie is I don't know how you can capture that magic again. I'm not exactly sure how you could do it. And, even reintroducing it to a new age, like someone like your age, Seth, I don't know how you can grab your attention and have you get the same feeling that I did when you know that this movie's a movie. You know what I mean? Like it's they can't punk you twice on the same bit. So what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, like I said, I don't know much about it, but I feel like they could find some potential in here somewhere, whether they make it a found footage movie or not. Yeah. Maybe they'll ditch that idea, even though I know it's the whole thing, but maybe they'll ditch that and you know what? We want to do something completely different. We want to revitalize the franchise in a completely new way. Maybe they'll go that route with it. I don't know, but I have no reason to think this, but I'm getting vibes that this is just going to be a cheap rehash of the original one.
Yeah, and Cody Ray says, I don't think we need a Blair Witch reboot.
You see, I read that when he first commented it, and I was thinking to myself, if I bring it up, I'm going to pronounce it like that. And then I thought, no, that'd be rude.
Where you fail, I pick up. No, Seth has to, let me just clarify something here. Seth has to come into the live stream before we actually go live and go through and fix all my spelling errors. I constantly misspell shit. So no judgment here, Cody. All right. I just thought Reboot would sound really funny.
It's almost as funny as Sneeder.
Sneeder Snyder. Logical Robot. It will turn out like the wrong turn reboot. Terrible. Reboot, remake. That's a good question. Logical Robot. I don't know. I mean, reboot, remake. Honestly, how could they reboot this? Let's be creative here. How could they reboot Blair Witch Project without trying to tell the same story? I'm not exactly sure. Random Facebook user says Blair Witch has no potential to being horrifying.
It has such potential.
It has such potential to be horrifying. If it is done right, it will give us that claustrophobic experience as well as the utter loneliness of the wilderness. Honestly, I like it more if it was one person instead of a group, like the original or follow-up. Yeah. But the thing that made the Blair Witch Project so successful was the fact that we thought it was real. We didn't, the majority of us, we had suspicions, and I had friends who were like, you really falling for this? Yeah, but the majority of the audience really thought it was a real thing that they were actually getting involved into.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can capture that. Now, if there's a way to redo this movie, how would you think they could redo it to breathe new life into it, to reboot it without copying, pasting the same concept? Now, I get what the Facebook user here is saying, give you that claustrophobic experience and utter loneliness of the wilderness, but you can do that with any movie and not call it Blair Witch Project. Blair Witch Project sets up an expectation. It sets up something that, like, hey, I'm going to go see this Blair Witch Project because I know what to expect from a Blair Witch movie. You can get a claustrophobic experience with utter loneliness from anywhere. So, like, what is going to make it Blair Witch, but also revitalize what it had done before? Because it hasn't had success. It's sequels, it's remakes or reboots that it's done before. It's never captured that first essence. So that's my main concern. Gilroy Vlogs, which I'll be on one of his channels on Thursday, Garage Bands Live, which he runs. I'll be playing some music there this Thursday. Blair Witch or live action movies like that aren't really scary anymore. Right. That's what I mean. That one and done, sort of like it was scary once. The lost footage, that type of stuff. Now, but then you can have lost footage movies and you can be exhausted by them. Be like, okay, well, I'm done with like Paranormal Activity, lost, like that kind of, not really lost footage, but camcorder type of thing. And so how can you revitalize that situation? I have an idea. I do have an idea. And that would almost be like kind of play into the fact that it wasn't real. That kind of fourth dimension, like what Wes Craven did with Freddy Krueger in The New Nightmare. They went this fourth dimensional route. Maybe if they can introduce us into a world where we know it's fantasy and they're kind of not taking themselves seriously in that sense, and kind of put it in that aspect. You're still keeping, like, show the behind the scenes of making this movie, but something happens to the people that are behind the scenes making the movie. That's I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
you get what I'm trying to say here? Wes Craven did with The New Nightmare, kind of do this fourth dimensional wall break, and it will hold true to what a Blair Witch Project movie is, while also breathing a little bit of new life into it. And that's just my opinion. That's just what I can put on the table as a way to continue this franchise or to reboot this franchise. Logical Robot says, such movies worked best as an initial one-off experience, aka Paranormal Activity 1. Yes, but then you have Paranormal Activity 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
How many Paranormal Activity movies are there?
I don't know. I've never seen them, but
I haven't either.
That's because curious. I don't like movies like that. Not because I think they're scary. It's because I have a hard time with their fantastical element. I like hardcore slashers, but like when it comes to a movie trying to be realistic, Blair Witch got the closest that it could. Paranormal Activity just raises a lot of questions for me. Like, why would they? Well, we're not going to dive into that right now.
There's 7 Paranormal Activity movies.
Right, exactly. And Blair Witch should have stayed with 1. Paranormal Activity should have stayed with 1. There's nothing wrong with being one and done. There really isn't. Yeah. But people seem to think, well, if you don't have a franchise, then you don't have a movie. Like that. I don't think that's quite how it works. But I do think if you're creative enough, you could breathe new life into it. So, Cody Ray, the first one was amazing. Yeah, when I saw that thing in theaters, I shit you not, I was scared when I went home. Like I went home, I laid in bed, and I sat there with the covers over me, like, oh god, what was that? What was that? That was me. That's just how I enjoy movies. I really get immersed into them, and they got me good. Now, or maybe, okay, here's another idea. I don't have like a full idea here, but like maybe they can redo it in such a way where they do punk us again, but not in the same way. Like they're like, what if, okay, how there's movies that like have curses, they call them the movie curse, bad things happen, behind the scenes. What if they do something like that? Like come out with fake fucking things about this actor got injured on set. Oh no, is this movie cursed? This director got, whatever, impaled by something, like, is he okay? It might be a little extreme, but like, I'm just trying to think of creative ways to revitalize this franchise by punking people.
Before you said that idea, I was like, well, people are going to be onto it though. Like people are going to know that they're being pranked or whatever, but that could work. That concept could work.
Right. Make it
Now,
seem like but
when
it's
the
the
movie
production that's cursed. Yeah.
But when the movie actually comes out, will people like the movie? Will it have been worth it?
That's up to Lionsgate. That's up to the producers of the movie and how they the quality they put into it and how well the story is, That's up to them. Who knows? You can ask that question about any movie.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. Lionsgate, Blair Witch reboot in works. We'll see. There's ideas. They have plenty of writers out there, and maybe if they listen to people who are coming up with other ideas, maybe a true fan is remaking this. We don't actually know. We'll see. To me, I think it's dead, but they never say never, right, Seth?
Yep.
Never say never.
Never say
Again,
never.
Harrison Ford is about to turn 80 years old, and Indiana Jones is going to be released when he's 80. So
okay, but that's not a budget problem.
Is it not?
No, it's not. Actually, he was injured like 3 times while filming.
Right. Do you know how much money it takes to make these movies with these older actors just to like help them through because they're older? Hell, maybe that's why Hellboy's budget is so big. It's because Ron Perlman's 70 years old.
Okay, well, Ron Perlman wasn't 70 years old 15 years ago when he made the other 2.
I know, that's why I'm saying this is why the third one's budget would be big. All right, so that's down, out of the way.